Okay, let's get this going here. As I was just saying, first of all, good evening to everyone. I hope that everybody's doing well. Today is our last day. Some of you are happy, some of you are very happy. Okay, so I don't foresee anyone being sad. So I only happiness here. So the way you're gonna be doing it today, I will be demonstrating the exercise that is the warm-up for the test. After that exercise, I'll brush through the second exercise. The second exercise is not so important for the test. It's important, but not so much. So if we have time, we're gonna do it. If not, we're gonna just brush through it quickly. But the first one, exercise 15, is the main one. So once I'm done demonstrating both exercises, or at least exercise 15, hopefully we have that done by 8 p.m. So from now to 8 p.m. we're gonna be I'll be demonstrating the exercise. Then at 8 p.m. I'm hoping that we can get the test started. Exercise based, very similar to the exercise 15 and 16 a little bit. So I will be online on GoToMeeting all the time, but I'm gonna mute myself during the test, so you don't have to listen to my sounds going on here. However, I will be online to answer your questions on GoToMeeting, on Slack, on Padlet, and I'll be here to assist you. So the test will take an hour and 45 minutes. So by 9:45, you should be out. Okay. Yes, and I think that's it to get us started. Any questions there before I get started with the exercise demonstration? Anyone? How are you all doing? How is everything? How's with everybody? Okay, Farzan, I was wondering about the weight of the bonus. Okay, so there is one more bonus on the... Hey, Mazir? There is one more bonus during the test. That will be bonus 8. So in total, we have 8 bonus points that will add up to 10 points. So if my math is correct here, each bonus is worth 1.25, if my math is correct here. Okay? So we're gonna have 8 bonus, each one 1.25 of your final grade. So here you have. Does that answer your question? Great. Okay, so let's get this going without further ado. So let me close the joke. Actually, let me confess this. Those jokes, they are the ones that my kids' teacher sent to them, and I said I'm gonna reuse that with my students. So I'm just saying that it's not from me, it's from my daughter's teachers. Anyway, okay, great. So this should be right here. Okay, let me see. Sorry about this, just need to bring this up. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. Under week 13, hopefully you had a chance to look to practice exercise 15 and 16. So I'll be demonstrating exercise 15 where we have stopped last class. Last class, we went as far as the creation of the 3 classes, an abstract class called vehicle and 2 concrete classes called bicycle and car. So we have done that, and that's where I'm gonna pick up from here and carry on. So if you look at the code, we have the class vehicle with these properties and a constructor with 5 parameters. Constructor is setting the values from the parameters back to the properties. And then we have an operate, which is an abstract method in our abstract class. Sina, I will upload this as it gets done, because this version here with the codes I had uploaded already, but just in case, not to Centennial but to Padlet, I'll put it there in a second. So this code that I'm uploading right now is the one that has the classes, okay? So I'm uploading it to Padlet and to Slack as well. Slack. So our section 5 general channel. Okay, so it's there as well. So in both Padlets, but again, it's the code up to this point that we have the 3 classes created. Okay, so we have vehicle, we have... Okay, perfect. So I just uploaded Sina. That will allow you to carry on. However, I'll be in accelerated mode here, okay, Sina? So again, make sure that you may want to pay more attention than really do the code, but let's see. So vehicle, then we have bicycle here, inheriting from vehicle, and adding 2 additional properties, and the constructor is adding 2 additional parameters as well. Tire size and terrain, and we are setting them up here. We are calling the base, the parent constructor. We have operate implemented, and the same thing on the car. We have 2 new properties, fuel, number of passengers. We have a constructor that has number of passengers. Additionally, number of passengers and fuel. We call the base, the parent constructor. We set the values to the ones that are local to the car. Okay, I'm just gonna mute everybody. Okay, I know what it is to have kids around. My kids are all over the place here. So as I said before, if you see me running, I'm trying to avoid them to chop each other. Okay, so operate. Operate is implemented as well in the car. Okay, so we have 3 classes. Now let's carry on to the Mazir. Yeah, let me tell you, has been crazy here. Okay, I have to confess. Yesterday, during my class yesterday at night, the same time here, they were fighting for about 1 hour. My wife was trying to organize them, but they were fighting for 1 hour right on top of me here. And I was listening to the whole thing. Got to a point that I had to speak so loud in the mic so nobody could hear the movement that was happening here. Anyway, just wanted to put this out there, you know. But it was bad. Let me tell you, to teach a class while you have kids fighting and screaming on top of you, it's not that easy. But let me also tell this, nobody in the class has noticed that. Nobody. I don't think they have. Anyway, enough for my rant here. So let me carry on. We have a lot of stuff to get done here. Yeah. So form. Let's see how our form should look like. Okay, so here we have our form. So we have a big, let me try to zoom in a little bit. Okay, so we have a big group box around the entire area. We have a button and we have text boxes, a bunch of labels, 3 group boxes inside this bigger group box, so we can have group boxes inside group boxes inside group boxes, no problem. So we have 2 group boxes, actually 3, for cars, for bikes, and type of vehicle. So we're going to put this interface together. Now, I'm not going to put control by control here. because just for the sake of time, okay, I want to get through this, and there's no benefit of me just dragging controls to the form. It will not add too much value to you. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna copy the form that I have already created. I'm gonna paste it here, and I'm gonna cover some aspects of that form. So I'm gonna copy to the form. So here we have the button and the group box. In our form, I'm gonna call this, let me see here. I'm gonna call our form FRM vehicles. I'm just gonna go through different elements here quickly. So the form, I'm gonna say FRM vehicles. Again, I'm giving a proper name to the form. And the title of our form, right here where it says form 1, we're gonna replace that with vehicles. Okay, so in terms of the controls, we have a bunch of labels here. But look, we don't care about the names of those labels because they don't change dynamically. I only need to worry about naming controls that we're gonna be using in our code. So I didn't change the name. Actually, I did for the vehicle information, but that's okay. But I didn't change for the labels here. Now, I will change, and I recommend that you change as well. Actually, you have to change it. See, I have here txt name, txt brand, txt price, and so on. Txt store. We also have 2 group boxes. Now, look at this. For these 2 group boxes, I put proper names to them. The first one, GRB car. The second one, GRB bike. The reason is because as we flip the controls here, yes, Farsan, that's exactly it. That's why. Because as we, and Farsan is just saying, because we will disable them. Yes, correct. We'll disable one at a time. If car is selected, we disable bike. If bicycle is selected, we disable car, but we enable the other one. So we're gonna be making references to them in our code. So let's give them proper names. Okay, so we have a numeric up and down here. Here's the control, here's the name, numeric NRUD passenger, NRUD tire size. We have CBO from combo box, fuel, and CBO terrain. Okay, so we have 2 combo boxes and 2 numeric up and down. Type of vehicle, as you can see, group box, I did not care about that group box because I'm not changing it. However, for the radio buttons inside, I've called the first one RBTN car. I changed the text for the car. Remember, most controls, they have those 2 properties. Well, all of them, they have a name property, but most of them, they have a text property. Text is usually the property that is used to display information on that control, like the label text, or the text inside the text box, or the text for the group box, or the text on besides the radio button. Okay, so we have the text, and don't confuse that with the name. We have name and we have text. Okay, then we have create vehicle button here. I've called it BTN create vehicle. That's fine. And the text on top of it, create vehicle. Great. So we have our controls in place. 2 more notes here. One is, because I want car to be the default selection, I will go to car, the control car. I'm gonna go to the checked properties, checked property, and I'm gonna set it, instead of false, I'm gonna set it to true. So it becomes selected by default. Because car is selected by default, which group box should be disabled by default? Anyone there in the chat? Yes, person, that's it. So bikes here should be disabled by default. So I'm gonna go to bikes group box. I'm gonna go to the enabled property and I'm gonna set it to false. Now, when you set the enable to false, nothing changes here in design time from a visual standpoint, but when you run, look at this. Look, when you run by default, for bikes is disabled. Now, if I click here, nothing is happening because we did not add any code yet. We're gonna do that next here. Okay, just want to give a quick pause here. A pause for the cause. So any questions going on? Anything? I know I copy the entire control here, I paste it, I try to go through all of them, but just want to check if there are any questions about this UI here. Any controls, anything that you want to, I don't know more about? Any questions? Okay, I'm checking Padlet, I'm checking here the chat, nothing is going on, so I'm gonna keep moving forward. So let me check the exercise, let's see what is next. Okay, so it says provide proper names to the GUI controls. We just did that, we went through them, we know that everything is well named. Again, I'll be checking that in your test. Please use proper names, abbreviation, and then the name of the control for the ones that you're going to refer in the code. Second point here, declare and create a private field called vehicles in the form class of type list of vehicles. So we're going to create a list of vehicles to store. Whenever we click create vehicle, we save the information in an object and we put that object inside our list collection, our list of vehicles, which is called vehicles. Okay, so let's do that. But look, declare and create. Okay, so we're gonna declare and at the same time we're gonna create it as well. So where are we going to do that? Well, we're gonna go to our form1 class. So I'm gonna right click here in the form1. I'm gonna go and view code. Then at the top where it says partial class here, we're gonna declare a private field here, a private collection here. So I'm gonna say private list of what? List of vehicles. I'm gonna call it vehicles. And this is equals to, because you're gonna be declaring, as we did right now, and creating. So I'm gonna say new list vehicle. When we are calling the constructor, we put the parentheses to indicate that, well, we are calling the constructor of that class. So here is the class, list of vehicles, and here is the constructor. So we are declaring and creating. Great, so that point is done. Next one here, use the combo box for fuel, the combo box for terrain, and let's put gas, diesel, electric, and hybrid for fuel, paved and unpaved for terrain. This is already done, but I'm going to open the form so you can see where this gets done. So I can go to fuel, and if you do this, for this particular case, if you do this in design time or in run time, that's fine. Via the codes or in design time, fine either way. So I'm going to go to items collection. I click the three dots and then I can enter each item in the drop down as a separate line. So I can keep adding here. I can keep adding them, okay? But I'm going to just keep the 4 of them. Okay, so 4 items, the first one. In terrain, we have 2 items under the items property. No problem, okay? So Lincoln, why you declare it in the form1 class? And by declare, I think that you mean the list, okay? So let me go there. Let me show you that. So if we go to the form, if you go to the exercise, actually, let's go there. Look, the exercise says, declare and create a private field called vehicles in the form class, okay? In our form class. So the form class that we have is this one here. This is our form class, okay? So if we go to the code, we see our form here. This is a class, and inside of it, we create our private list, okay? Our private collection. Lincoln, I don't know if that makes sense now. Again, you can follow up and you can tell me. Mamadou, repeat it again, please, from the collection. Okay, so yeah, so I kind of reconnect here with the collection. Sorry, you were talking about the, I think that the visual here, isn't it? The combo box, I think. Yes, great. So Lincoln, great that that's sorted out. Again, if you have any follow-up, Lincoln, let me know. How can we add items in the drop-down? Actually, let me run this and let me open the drop-down here so you can see it. Okay, so if you go look at this, you see, drop-down, the items are here, I can select them. How to add them to this control? Well, let's go to design time there. Let's select the control. So this is a combo box. I'm gonna go to the combo box properties right here. Let me just create more space here. There is a properties called there's a property called items. Items can hold multiple items that will populate the list of options. So we're gonna go to the three dots. We click the three dots. It opens this little editor. Each line of this editor, I can enter a different item that will be available in the drop down. Once I'm done, I click yes, and it's there. I repeat that for terrain. I go to the items of terrain. I go to the collection again here, and I have paved and unpaved. I type them in there, click OK, and I'm done. Okay, so, yep, so hopefully that made sense, Mamadou. If you have any follow-up, let me know. We can use list append to. Sina, you can add them dynamically via codes. That would be fine. That would be fine. Only if the exercise is asking you to do it in one way or another, you'd have to pick one. But because this was not explicit, if you have added manually like I did, it's okay. If you add them dynamically in the code, it's okay as well. Yeah, so Farzan, which is more professional? Okay, let me tell you this. If you know the options already up front, if the options are not dynamic, if the options will not be driven by database, a database table or something like that, you can add them manually in design time like this, like what I did here, because I know that those values will not change. However, let's say if you have a list of courses that you need to populate in the drop down, and this list is coming from the database, is not fixed. Maybe this semester will be 10 courses, next semester will be 7 courses. If the list is dynamic, if you don't know which options will be there up front, you load them via the code. Okay? Awesome. Okay, great. So moving forward here. Okay, so we did those two. Use combo box for field, use combo box for terrain. Now let's take care of those ifs. If car radio button is selected, the 4 cars group box should be enabled and the 4 bikes group box should be disabled. If bike, so in a nutshell, what those two items are telling us is that if car gets selected, 4 cars is enabled, 4 bikes is disabled. If bicycle is selected, 4 cars is disabled, 4 bikes is enabled. We have to code that, okay? We have to code this change. Now, for us to code that, we have to think, where is it that we're gonna put this code? What needs to happen? What is the trigger? Think about the trigger. what is the trigger that needs to happen for the switch to be activate the codes. Enabled. Dirk, enabled is the property of those controls. We're gonna set enable to true and false. That's fine. However, yes, Ederson, yes, I'm asking when will this happen? What needs to happen for this code to run? Well, here it is. Let's check this. Look, this is happening. That's the action. Or you can think of, oh, it's the click. Well, you can think of a click for now, but ideally, because I can also make this change to one or the other in codes, I'd rather use another event. I'd rather use a slightly different one. And Ederson just mentioned that. He said checked change. That's the one that we're going to be using. Actually, checked change is the default event for radio buttons. Ederson, what is a default event? Well, default event is when you double click a control and it goes to the code and it creates the event for you. Look at this. The event was checked change. So the event is when the check option gets changed, either selected or unselected. So this is the default event. Default event, double click on the control, goes to the code, that is the default event. It would have been the same effect if you select the control, go to the properties, go to the events, and double click where it says checked change. Okay? So we're gonna be doing it here. We're gonna be doing something here. Now, here goes. What is it that we're gonna be doing right here? What is it? How should we start this? Exactly. Sina Madison there. Great. So we're gonna be checking, we're gonna be validating or see if the radio button car, we can use car as a reference point, okay? We could have used bike as well. We could use one or the other because, to be honest, we just have two, so it's enough to check just one. And I'll explain more about that next. Dirk, bikes.enabled. Dirk, here's the thing. It's not bikes. It's not this that is driving the process. What is driving the action is the value of these two guys here, car or bicycle, okay? So enabled is what we are changing, but checking, verifying in our if statement, we're gonna verify if car is selected or if bike is selected, okay? Good one, Akshil, good one. Good one. Very good one. How did you come up with that, Akshil? Give me some feedback there. I like that, but I'm curious to see how did you come up with that. Anyway, let's get to that in a second here. But I'm curious, Akshil, how did you come up with that? So what you're gonna do, and let's not use Akshil's suggestion yet, because it's a very short one. Let's go for a longer one so we can understand this better. For now. So I'm gonna say if rbtn car dot checked. If car is checked, we're gonna do this. Else, we're gonna do that. So if car is checked, we're gonna make sure that for cars is enabled. So you're gonna say grb car dot enabled equals to true, because again, if car is checked, the group car has to be enabled. And then grb bike, which is the other group, has to be disabled. So enabled equals to false. Okay? And now I'm going to copy this and I'm going to do the opposite here. If car is not checked, well, it means that bike is checked. So if bike is checked, we're going to say car will be false and bike will be true. And this should give us what we are expecting. Let's have a look. Look at this. Bicycle, car, bicycle, car. Just what we wanted. Okay? As we change. Now, look. We didn't have to use RBTN bicycle because we just have two items. So if car is checked, bike is unchecked. If bike is checked, car is unchecked. So it is enough to check just for the car. We don't even need to check for the bicycle. If we had three items, it would be slightly different, but here we just have two items. Okay, questions? Anything going on? Clear as mud? Also, thank for the feedback, Mabado. Anyone there? We have about 30 people in the call here. I don't believe that everybody got this. I really don't. I'll be happy to, but I really don't. But anyway, you are all adults, you can tell me. Can we create one more event for BTN bike? We can, but I would ask you, Sina, what's the point? Why create one more event? We don't need to. Because what happens is this, look. Just an FYI, my internet seems to be a little bit unstable, so if you lose me, I'll make my way back, okay? So, can you still hear me? Okay, great. Just that I have a little light blinking here, and when this light is blinking, it usually means that internet is not good. Anyway, my point to you is this, Sina. Look, if I have bicycle selected, because the click of bicycle mean that car changed, so we don't need to code both of them. Because when I click car, it changes car. When I click bicycle, it changes car. So only one is necessary. You don't need to do that multiple times. Coding is about avoiding redundancy as well. So, okay, perfect, awesome. Glad that you got. Okay, moving on, moving forward here. So we have this done. Now we have to code when the user clicks on create vehicle, the following needs to happen. Well, let's start here. That's the biggest part of this code here. So as you click the button, a new vehicle will be created and the information fields in the GUI will be used to set the vehicle properties. Okay, so let's do that. So let's go back to our form, to our button. I can double click the button. I can go to the events and go to the click event. Doesn't matter how you choose to do that, okay? It's gonna create the click event for us. So let's think about this. Let's think about this. What is it that we need to happen when the create button gets clicked? What should I start doing here? A new vehicle. Yes, Farzan. But here's the thing. Here is my question. Can I create an object of type vehicle? Yes, no, maybe. So the question is, can I create an object of type vehicle? Yes or no? No, you cannot, okay? And the reason is because it is abstract. However, let's think about this. I can declare an object of type vehicle. I cannot create it, but I can declare. Those are two different things, okay? Well, two, not four. Two different things. You can declare, but you cannot create. Ederson, you know that? Maybe you want to explain, Ederson? Yes. I'm saying that because Ederson asked me a question today via email, and it was about that. Okay, so let's use a more fancy way to do this, to create this vehicle here. Okay, we're gonna do this. We're gonna say vehicle, and I'm gonna say new vehicle. Look, we are declaring a new vehicle here. I can declare a new vehicle. That's fine. I know it's an abstract class, but I'm not creating it. So declaring is okay for abstract classes, but not creating. So I cannot say new vehicle. I cannot say this. Okay? But I can declare. But you're gonna say, okay, but Ederson, what's the point of declaring if we cannot use it? Well, here's the thing. I can declare, but then I can choose later what type of objects I want to create with that. What are the two types that I can create here? I can create a bicycle or a car. Okay? Question there, Farzan. But why to create a car object or a bike object? Why? Because we need to populate the properties of this object with the fields from the UI. We populate, we get that object, and we store that object in the list. Okay? Okay, so I misread your question. So the question is, why not create a car object or a bicycle object? You could, for some, you could do that. Okay? So, like I said, in coding, different ways to skin the same cat, okay? You could have done like this, or you could have created a bicycle or a car based on an if statement. I wanted to use this approach because it shows you the flexibility that you can have by using an abstract class, okay? Okay. Yes, for some. So later we can add to the collection to new vehicle. Yes, Arshdeep. Yes, later we're gonna add that. We're gonna add new vehicle to the collection. Okay. Okay. So Mazir, oh, it was my problem on search. Yes. Okay. Search on 16. We're gonna touch on that a little bit later. So we have two types of vehicles. Yes. Yeah, so you're right, Mazir. On the search, it's a little bit tricky to deal with the search here, but we're gonna get there in a second. Anyway, I have declared my vehicle here. What should I do now? What then? We need an if statement. So the same kind of statement that we had here, we're gonna do this. We're gonna use this again. I'm gonna say if car is checked, let me just, and we're gonna have else as well, and let me just align this here because I have code ADD. I have to align things properly. It's called code DD, code ADD, code DD. Yeah, I don't know. I have never heard the term. Anyway, just invented it, just coined it. It's a neat freak coder. Anyway, so if car is checked, Then what we're gonna do is this. New vehicle equals to what? Equals to new car. And now we have a list of parameters that we have to send to the car constructor. Okay? So I'm gonna say string name. So I'm gonna go to the controls here in the form, one by one. I'm gonna get their names, and I'm gonna be accessing their name, and I'm gonna get their text properties. Okay? So I'm gonna go one by one. So the first one is txt name. Which property? The dot text property. Second one, brands, txt brands. Look, when you put proper names, it becomes very easy to understand that this is a text box. This is the name text box. Dot text, comma, price. Look, price is a double, so you're gonna have to do some conversions here. But txt price dot text. We have seen this before. We just have to convert this. We can convert by using parse. Okay, so double dot parse. Then we have warranty. Warranty is an integer. Another conversion here. So we're gonna say txt warranty dot text. Sorry, capital T. And then because this is an int, I'm gonna say int dot parse. Okay, store. Store is a string. Great. So txt store dot text. Fuel. Fuel is also a string, so you can get the name of the fuel from the drop down that is selected. So you're gonna say cbo fuel dot text. And last one, number of passengers. So I'm gonna say number of passengers is numeric up and down. So a numeric. Let me go there. Let me get the name here. Number of passengers, numeric up and down. Let's go back to the form. I see a question there on Padlet. I'll get there in a second. Numeric up and down passengers dot value. Jefferson. So value, but value is a decimal. However, the number of passengers parameter is an integer. So I have to cast this decimal back to an integer here. So I'm gonna say int. I'm gonna cast it like this. Okay. And we have our new car. And just have a look at Padlet. I see something there. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you for the codes. Yeah, appreciate that. Now, we're gonna have to kind of repeat the same thing here for the bicycle. So I'm gonna copy this just to save a little bit of typing. It will be a new bicycle. The first 5 parameters of bicycle is the same, but the next 2 are a little bit different. So we're gonna have tire size, which is in NRU the tire size dot value. This is decimal. I have to convert to an integer. And the last parameter is terrain, which is cbo terrain dot text. And this is our last parameter here. And here we have. Okay, so we have declared, we have created, and now we're gonna be perfect. Okay, thank you very much for the code in the chat. Sorry, in Padlet. Okay. Clear controls. I see very advanced people here with very fancy stuff. Okay, now here is where it gets simple. You know, I just have to add now to the collection. Collection name is vehicles. I'm gonna have vehicles dot add, and then I'm gonna add the new vehicle there. Okay, all good here. Now, you could have used this if, you could have declared a car and add the car here. You could have declared a bicycle here, add the bicycle here. That would be fine as well, okay? That would have been just fine. Questions. I see something on Padlet. What if I did it like this and without a declaring of vehicle? That's fine. So if you did, let me just bring it so that everybody can see. If by any chance you have done like this, it's fine as well. Look, we declare a car locally, we add the car to the vehicles. We declare a bicycle in the else statement, and we add the bicycle. That's fine. Again, different ways to do the same thing. It's all good. All valid. All correct. Okay, great. For some, okay, no problem. So let me see there. Let's see what else. So we did this. Now let's use a try-catch block to handle any invalid inputs, like when the user enters text in the warranty or price, show a message to let the user knows about the input problem. Well, here's the problem. So we have done this. If I try to run, so if I run this and I just put some, look, in the price and warranty, I'm putting letters here. So when I try to create vehicle, we're gonna have an exception. So look at the exception, system.format exception. This is a specific exception that happens when we are trying to convert a string that has alphanumeric characters to a number. Okay, so we get this exception. Now let's handle that. The question, the exercise is asking us to handle this exception. So let's do that. Stop the code. We're gonna put a big try-catch block involving everything. Okay, so we're gonna say try to do this. The only exception that can happen here really is a problem with price and warranty. That's really it. Then we can say catch. We can put the specific exception here, format exception, because we saw the exception. And you can say error here. And the exercise asked to show a message. Okay, so I'm gonna use the class message box, the method show, and I'm gonna show the error dot message. So we have this big try-catch block. We are showing the error that is happening there. Let's give this a try. Okay, so if I put characters here, if I try to create vehicle, now it shows the message. Input string was not in correct format. Okay, so now our code no longer stops working. It keeps working, but it gives an alert to the user that something is going wrong there, that we typed something wrong there. Okay, so if I put proper price, proper warranty here, it's going through. Now, let's look at the exercise. So we put the try-catch block, we put the message, add the newly created vehicle to the vehicles list. the list should store the list of all vehicles created. We did that already. I see a question. So Mamadou, is that okay if we put our own message? That's fine. That's fine. Okay, here the exercise was not specific about what should be displayed there. So you could have done your own message, okay? So this one is done. We have added to the vehicle list. Now it's asking us to clear all text boxes and set the selected type of vehicle back to car. Okay, so we have to clear. It's like we are resetting the form, okay? So we are blanking out all fields and we are setting the selected vehicle back to car. So we are resetting our form in a way, okay? Empty strings, that's fine. So we're gonna be using a bunch of empty strings here. So we're gonna say in the create, after we are done saving our vehicle, we can we put that in finally? Finally, here is a question for you, model. If we put the clearing in the finally block, what will happen is that if there is an error in the form, like an invalid value for price or warranty, it's gonna clear all fields and it won't give me the opportunity to change the value of price and warranty because it's gonna clear everything. Okay, so I would not put, not this case, I would not put there. Okay, so we're gonna do right here, I'm gonna say text equals to empty string, empty string, and we're gonna do this for each and every control. I'm gonna copy a little bit of code here just to speed things up a bit. So for every single text box, we're just gonna be changing to empty strings. For the combo boxes, we can also set text property to empty string. So I'm gonna do that for CBO fuel and terrain. So I'm gonna do this for CBO fuel and CBO terrain as well. Now for the tire size and the passengers, number of passengers, I'm gonna set them to 0. Okay, so number of passengers to 0, tire size to 0, and last but not least, we have this one here. Look, and set the selected type of vehicle to car. So I'm gonna do the selected type of vehicle, I'm gonna set it to car. So if I go here, I can do something like this, dot checked equals to true. Sorry. And that should be it. So there's a point there. BTN car enable is same as BTN. Okay. No. Okay, so the question is radio button. So the radio button dot enabled property is the same as the dot checked? It's not. Enabled, the control is active. You can use it. Disable, enable false, the control gets disabled. It gets unusable. Let me just run like this. So this is when a control gets disabled or enable equals to false. I cannot click on it. You see, there is this gray shading here. It means that it's not available. So that's enabled. Enabled is whether or not the control is available for me to interact with. Checked is whether or not it's checked. Okay? Hope it makes sense. Okay. Let's see what else there. So Basil, can you repeat that list vehicle? Okay, so let me see. I'm assuming that you mean the declaration up there. So we declare the list of vehicles here, and let me know if this is not it, Basil. We declare a list of vehicles. I'm calling it vehicles, and I'm creating it right away. Vehicles is the list, the collection that will store the newly created vehicle. Okay? Not sure if that makes sense. Okay? Next question here. So, Sina, can we do NRUD passengers value equals to empty string? No, we cannot, Sina, because here's the thing. Value is not a string. Value is a decimal. Okay? So we cannot do that. Look, it's giving me an exception already. It's giving me an error here because value is a decimal. Okay? So we have to put a numeric value there. Null, I don't know. I mean, to be honest, I never tried to put null. I don't think. Yeah, it does seem so. Look, let me see here. Cannot convert null. Yeah, this value here is not nullable. So primitives usually are not nullable unless we make them nullable. So yeah, null will not work either here, Sina. Okay. Problem. Okay, so Gukirat, can you tell where do we change the input type for text box like int or double? Well, we don't change the input type. We are using a different control. So here we have a text box, okay? So look, txt name is a text box. For passengers and for tire size, we are not using a text box. We are using a different control called numeric up and down. So we don't change that. We are using a different control. Text box here for name and numeric up and down for number of passengers. I hope this makes sense, Gukrat. Let me know otherwise. Lincoln, the clear text box code, is it in the try block? Yes, it's inside the try block, the try catch block. Okay? So we are putting it inside right after we add the new vehicle to the list. Okay? Okay. Great. So I think that's it. Again, I'm just checking the chat. Anything else? Any other questions? I think that, and we just have one more item here. The last point. Let's use the messagebox.show to show the total number of vehicles stored so far in the vehicles list. Okay, so let's use this. Let's call messagebox.show. So at the very bottom, I'm gonna say messagebox.show. Show what? Show this message here. So number of vehicles, and we're gonna show here. We're gonna call our collection vehicles dot count. Okay, so we call the count of vehicles, and we show this in a message box. Okay, so I'm gonna run this. Let's create two cars here. Question here. I'm asking for warranty text box. How do we set this type? You don't set the type, Gukrat. If you want to use a different control like this, you change the control. If you don't want to use a text box, that's fine. Use something else. But there is no property here to make it just type in numbers. If you want just numbers, make it a numeric up and down. Okay? If there's a property I'm not sure about, but again, if you only want number here, you may want to use a numeric up and down. Okay? It's your choice. Does it make sense? Now, there are ways that you can control to avoid the user from typing characters, but if you have to go through that entire trouble of coding that, you might as well just use a numeric up and down that will do the job for you, and it's already ready. Okay, so I was about to demonstrate the application here. So let's do a quick test here. Let's say Corolla, Toyota, price 25K, warranty 5 years, store Oshawa. Passengers, let's say 5 passengers, fuel, gas, and we're gonna create that, okay? Number of vehicles, 1. Okay, so now, how about I put a breakpoint in the codes so you can see this in action? I'm gonna try to create our next vehicle. I'm gonna create a bicycle now. So bicycle, I'm gonna say BMX, brand, super bikes, price $700, warranty 3 years, store sport, check, and tire size 24 inches, terrain for unpaved here. Okay, so when I click create vehicle, it's gonna stop. It stops for me to debug. So if I go F10, it's a bicycle. I'm gonna create the new vehicle here. So F10 again. Now look, new bicycle has all the information of the bicycle. As you can see, I am adding now to the vehicles collection. Right now, vehicles has just one item number 0, which is a car. That's the Toyota one that I created before. You can see the properties here. Now I'm going to add a new one, a bicycle. Now it should have 2. Look, it has 2 now. And look, it also shows the type, car and bicycle. Look at this. Okay, both of them are vehicles, but we have a car and a bicycle. And we have the properties there. I'm going to run from here. And now we see the message that says number of vehicles equals to 2. Okay. Okie dokie. So that is the exercise. Any questions? I'm going to upload this code right now to Padlet and to Slack as well. So I'm just gonna zip it up so you can have this as a reference point for your test. So here we have. Let's see here. Okay, so I'm going to upload right now to Padlet, and I'm gonna drag this over to Slack as well. There's a question there. I'll check the question in a second here. Okay, so it's available on both of them, Slack and Padlet. So okay, so Sina, I didn't create abstract class for vehicle, just normal class. Is that a problem? Well, you tell me, because here the exercise is asking for an abstract class. So if you create a concrete class, well, guess what? You're not creating an abstract class. Okay, so is that a problem? Yes, you're not doing as the exercise is asking you to do. Okay. When it starting, good Kirat, I can see that you are anxious to get the test going. Maybe you can start before the other ones. No. 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock, you're going to start. Okay, so you guys want to skip the last exercise? No. Let's not skip that. 8 o'clock. 5 minutes. We have a break now, right now. What control is NRUD tire size? NRUD, Lincoln, is numeric up and down. It's this one here. So let me go to the toolbox. Numeric up and down, up, down. That's the NRUD, okay? Okay, so let me refill my water here. We're gonna go back. We're gonna be back in 5 minutes. Let's take a break. And 5 minutes, then we finish the exercise, and then we go to the test, and then we're done, and then hasta la vista. 5 minutes. Okay. Can you hear me well? All good? Can you hear? Just let me know. Okay, great. So let's try to wrap things up with the last exercise so we can move forward to the test. Okay, so I'm gonna go back here to 13, week 13, under exercise 16. Exercise 16 is basically asking you to do two things. The first one is to add a search feature to the form where you can enter the name of the vehicle and it's gonna search in the list. Once it finds the vehicle in the list, it populates the controls with the selected vehicle. Okay? If it doesn't find, it doesn't populate. Okay? The other thing that it does, it's creating a new interface that we're going to be using that will be inherited by vehicle. So iSellable will be inherited by vehicle, and we're going to have two methods in iSellable: make sale and calculate interest. We're going to put those two together, and in the interface we're going to have two additional buttons, one to make a sale, the other one to calculate interest. We're going to be calling both methods that comes from iSellable. Okay, so we're going to call make sale, calculate interest. Okay, that's it. I'm going to focus, to be honest, I'm going to focus on the aspect here that is most important for the test, which is the search, because we're going to have a search feature in the test as well as a bonus feature. So I'm going to start with that one. So here is the code. I'll be doing something different here. I'm going to open the solution and I will walk you through the solution. I'm not going to do step by step because we don't have enough time for that anymore, but I'll be providing the solution. I'll be providing the codes as well for this part too. So in our form, we have added at the very top a new label that says search by vehicle name. We have added a text box called txt search. This is where the user will type the name of the vehicle. And we have a search button called btn search. Once we click, we're gonna loop through the list of vehicles to find the one that matches the text in the search box. Okay, so we're gonna do this loop through them. Now, as you can see here, it's a little bit more involving than that, so I'm gonna briefly explain a few things. First off is that I decided, the exercise is not asking for that, but I decided that it would be convenient for me to declare a global, a private field for the vehicle that I'm searching for. Because as I find the vehicle, I should allow the user to click make sale and to click calculate interest, so that I don't need to look for the vehicle again. I store the found vehicle in this variable here called my vehicle. And here's how I do this. In the search button, I decided to create a separate method just to clear all controls, just to set all the different controls to empty string or to zeros, So if you look at this method here, and I did this just to make it reusable, okay? But it's just setting the controls to 0, sorry, the controls to empty string. I'm setting the price to 0, the warranty to 1. Again, I'm just doing some cleanup here. So first, as soon as I click the search, I do a cleanup. As I clean this up, I set my vehicle to null because I don't have a vehicle yet. So I reset my vehicle here just to make sure that vehicle has nothing on it. Now, as I loop through the list of vehicles, I keep checking if the name of the vehicle is a match with the search box, and I'm bringing both of them to lowercase so I can compare them without caring about uppercase and lowercase, okay? So by setting lowercase to both of them, I'm comparing the lowercase values of both of them. So it doesn't matter if you have BMX as capital letter, as lowercase, it will match anyway. As I find a match, my vehicle, which is the vehicle outside, gets set to the current vehicle here in the loop. And then I grab the name, I grab the bands, the price, the warranty, and the store. I set them all up. So I set them up here. All those common properties, okay? I set them because they are common. Whether you have a bicycle or a car, they are common to both of them. Now, it's where things get a little bit more, I would say, involving. Let's put it this way. Because here's the thing. My vehicle is a vehicle. But when I find it in this list, it might be a car or it might be a bicycle. I don't know yet. So I need to test whether this vehicle is type of a car or it's type of a bicycle. Well, actually, this one here, it's either car or bicycle, so I should not need to put that, but I was a bit overzealous here and I put this test anyway. But again, it would have been enough if you just test it if it's a car. So the reason why I'm testing is because if it's a car, I'm going to populate the passengers and the fuel. But if it's a bicycle, I'm going to populate the tire size and the terrain. So that's why we have this if. If it's a car, populate the numeric up and down with the number of passengers. Now, here's where it, again, gets a little bit tricky because we have to cast the vehicle down to a car. So I can get the number of passengers, because here's the thing, my vehicle, which is the abstract, which is a vehicle doesn't have number of passengers. So I cannot say vehicle, my vehicle dot number of passengers. I don't have that because my vehicle is a vehicle. Even though it might be storing a car or a bike, but the variable itself, it does know that it may have a number of passengers. It only knows that if I convert it back to a car. Now I can say dot number of passengers. If I convert it back to a car, now I can say dot fuel. I did the same thing if it's a bicycle. I cast vehicle to a bicycle to get the tire size. I cast the vehicle to a bicycle to get the terrain. Okay, Sina has a question here. Is it okay to do it like this? Car. If vehicle is car. I think it is, Sina. It's just a syntax that I don't use that often, but I think it is. Did it work for you? Let me ask you this. Did it work? Again. Okay, so great. So Sina just showed a different syntax there, which, to be quite honest, seems to be simpler than my syntax here. And I have no problem saying admitting that someone else has a better solution than mine. So it seems that we can say this is car. I love it. Really like it, Sina. Again, I'm trusting your word here. This is working. I'm trusting you. Okay, great. So here, look at this. Way simpler than what I put here. Again, this is great. There are times that there are just syntax that we are not aware of. So again, you could have this done this easily. I love it. So again, have a look at Padlets there, and we have that. I love it. Really like it. Okay. So my vehicle is bicycle. Now I know. Without casting, what happens? Because the current element of the list is a car type. Okay, but here, if you don't cast, here's what happens. You won't be able to compile it. Look, it does compile. It tells that number of passengers, it doesn't exist in my vehicle. Because my vehicle, when we are in design time like this, coding, my vehicle is the abstract vehicle. Abstract vehicle doesn't have a number of passengers. So it only gets known when it's in runtime. Okay? So again, you cannot even compile it. You get an error. You get a compilation error. Okay? Because again, vehicle, my vehicle is, look, it's a vehicle. Okay? So vehicle doesn't have a number of passengers. Okay? Okay, great. Okay, again, Sina, thanks so much for this. Really liked it. Okay, and then, of course, we check that the correct radio button. Okay, so radio button car, radio button bicycle, set to true, set to false, and we have it here. Let me just run that. Now, one thing that I did not show you, let me show the codes. Just so I can keep testing without having to enter a new vehicle all the time, I've created and I loaded the list with 2 vehicles. Look, the form load, I have used the form load event to add a car and to add a bicycle to the vehicles. Okay, so by default, when I run this version of the code, I get 2 vehicles and I can search for Corolla. Search shows up. I can search by BMX. It works, but if I try something else, it's giving an exception, which again, I did the exception handling here so that if I get a null, if we cannot find the vehicle here, we go to this statement that says vehicle not found. So if I say this, search, we have vehicle not found. BM search not found. Vehicle not found. BMX finds. Okay. So if nothing is found, we show a message that nothing was found there. Okay. Just to wrap things up quickly here, I've created also the iSellable interface with 2 abstract methods, make sale, calculate interest. iSellable is inherited by vehicle. So in vehicle, I can say make sale, I want to implement make sale here, concrete implementation of make sale from iSellable, but for calculate interest, I don't want to implement it in the abstract class, I want to implement it in the concrete classes because it's 15% for the car and then 10% for the bicycle, if I'm not mistaken. So for the calculate interest from iSellable, I can keep it abstract in the abstract class, but in the bicycle, I have to calculate. And in the car, I have to calculate it as well. Look, I'm using a constant here to put the value of the interest for cars and for bicycles as well. 10% for one and 15% for the other one. I get it. I got a little bit speedy here just for the sake of time, but I really tried to focus on what was the most important thing here. Most important was really the search. Okay, so I hope that give me some feedback there. Anyone stuck with the search? Any questions on the search? For the search control, I'm using a text box. So it's a text box here. Look, Lincoln. Text box here for the search and a regular button for the search button. Okay, button and text box. Okay, I'm going to share this code as well right now. So give me a quick second here. And I'm going to share the solution. So it is on Padlet. Just uploaded now, and I'll put that on Slack as well. And that's about it. Okay. So code was shared, Slack and Padlet. Again, any questions before we get moving to the test? So again, during the test, I'll be available here in the chat. I'll be monitoring the chat all the time on GoToMeeting, but I'm gonna mute myself. I'm gonna turn off my camera here. I'm gonna turn off my screen sharing as well, just to keep your environment quiet. But if you have a question, you ask me in the chat. I'll address there in the chat. You can ask publicly, you can ask privately, doesn't matter, but I'll be addressing that there. What else? Any questions about the test? Actually, let's look at the test so you can tell me if you have questions there. So give me 1 second and I will activate it. Okay. Okay, so the test, you're gonna have 1 hour and 45 minutes, starting at 8, goes until 9:45, okay? So can you please go to content, scroll all the way down, and you're gonna find test 02. Okay, so please, can you please confirm that you can see test 02? Okay, great. So if you look at it, you're gonna have a step-by-step to get done. The last point is optional and it's worth 1 bonus point. The very last point, step number 4. You're gonna create a search feature if you choose to do so, okay? So again, bonus is optional. You don't have to do it, but it's worth 1 bonus point. It's the 8th bonus and it's optional. You can do it or not. Very important as well. I may ask you later to demonstrate the code to me. I may ask you to have a meeting with me via GoToMeeting, and I may ask you questions about the test, And if you are not able to address that and you make the test correct, then we have to see what is happening there. But important note, you might be required to demonstrate and answer questions about the test one-on-one with the instructor, myself. Not today, but from now until Friday, maybe even Monday. But again, this is possible. I'm not saying that I'm gonna do with everyone. I'm gonna say that it is a possibility. Okay? So once you are done with your code, zip it up and upload to test2 under assessments. Let me just make sure that I have opened it up. So actually test2 is not visible right now, but I will make it visible right away. So at this point you should be able to see the folder test2 to upload. Any question at this point before you get started? Anything? I'm checking the chat. Okay, before you get started as well, I just want to say that it has been my pleasure, my privilege to have worked with you during the semester, during this tough semester that we have gone through those unusual circumstances. And thank you for your understanding, for your flexibility, for your working with me through this time as well of doing this online. Not an easy time for anyone, and I get it, stressful for everybody. But again, I really appreciate your help. If you need me for anything, by all means, I'm available to you. I will follow up with an email before the end of the week, just asking for a general feedback about the course. Again, it's been a pleasure. Thanks, Farzan. Thank you, everyone. Really, really enjoy having you, all of you here. As you get the test done, just upload, and then you can leave. That's why I'm saying my final words for the course here. Again, it has been my pleasure and privilege to have you around, okay? Thanks so much. Great. Again, thank you, Danielle, Mamadou, Edgar, Roy, thanks so much, Gulkirat, Arshdeep, thank you so much. Really appreciate all of you, okay? So again, I'll be available throughout the entire test right here. So just reach out, but I'm gonna mute myself, otherwise I won't stop talking, okay? Great. Good luck there with the test. Thank you all.